In April of 2023, Postal 2 received a massive update in celebration of the 20-year anniversary of the game's release. This included X-Patch 3.0, adding the ludicrous difficulty setting, a modifier to make the game's balance comically unfair. Maximum ammo, healing, and power duration are all massively reduced. NPCs are heavily armed, some with the game's most powerful weapons, and being insta-killed is a common occurrence. In March of 2024, X-Patch was updated to version 3.1, porting this absurd challenge mode to the 2015 expansion pack, Errands Lost. Along with a wealth of bug fixes and other minor additions, it also looks to include a new rank for completing the game on ludicrous difficulty. With the base game conquered and a new prize on the horizon, let's find out what fresh nightmares await in a brand new week. Errands Lost picks up right where Apocalypse Weekend left off, with Dude and Champ hightailing it out of town after setting off the world's largest firework. Having spotted a cat, Champ launches out of the car and gives chase directly into the encroaching blast wave. Dude pursues, but intense pain from his head wound causes him to swerve off the road, crashing his car and losing consciousness. Falling into a coma deep enough to retcon the previous game in the series, he remains here for 11 years. Eventually awakened by a passerby,
"Are you alright?"
but initially responds in a voice that is not quite his own.
It's this damn bullet lodged in my brain from when my hateful ex-wife drove me to shoot myself.
But I think I'm just fine now.
While I'm mostly fine with overlooking the question of how the hell he survived season after season with no food, water, or medical attention, I think it's a far greater crime that his cool beard vanishes after the intro cutscene. Trudging back into the ruins of paradise, we begin our search for Champ. We start off in this Trainyard, a hardy area to explore, which thankfully is mostly devoid of enemies. Aside from a few small bounties of ammo, armor, and utility items like the taser, you can also find a few of the new weapons on offer in Errands Lost. There are a handful of flashbang grenades in this room that are powerful enough to stun groups of enemies. A great pacifist option, but not all weapons about the place are so kind. The Revolver boasts incredible stopping power, which is balanced only by the rarity of its ammunition. Any cowpoke angling for a duel against you in this 6-shooter will end up with a belly full of lead. And spilled blood only increases the Big Iron's appetite for destruction. Every death it causes adds a charge to this meter, granting a free instant kill up to 6 at a time, allowing for some truly devastating trick shots. Due to the hostile nature of ludicrous difficulty, 2 full errands are dropped from Monday.
I better ask around to see if anyone's seen Champ recently.
Prodding wandering pedestrians with a photo of Champ would be impossible, and thus isn't required, much like the petition errand from Tuesday in the base game.
You should go speak to the wise man. He knows all around these parts.
The errand that precedes it, where you visit the Wise Wang, is also cut, but it mostly amounts to a 3-minute cutscene explaining some of the game's plot, all of which will become self-evident anyway. Beyond the Trainyard, we need to reach the old clinic that's been renovated into something more useful, a Chinese restaurant. Getting across this part of town presents a significant roadblock, namely the million billion enemies that wander this road. Slipping into the building directly adjacent seemed promising, as friendly fire occurs more often in close quarters, but the sheer bulk of NPCs was overwhelming. Clearing these rooms can also lead to more spawning outside, inadvertently creating an ambush when you leave. Instead, we can grab the attention of this Mad Max appreciator and kick the many heads he throws into the street behind the main group. Then climb into this cluster of boxes, grab the bass sniffer, and begin whittling down the hostiles nearby. The odd geometry of these crates acts as a safe spot, keeping you mostly free from harm. With the restaurant in view, we'll first turn our attention to the auto repair shop next door. Another leather-clad bruiser will try to prevent you from entering. But to the victor go the spoils, as there is another spot to potentially boost your health all the way up to 200. On top of this building there is also a few grenades, which are worth grabbing if you can avoid being spotted from the street below. The restaurant interior contains an entire army of hungry patrons, as well as the many workers, none of which want to see you eat a meal, a succulent Chinese meal, and so begins the assault. After rushing the kitchen and grabbing a bag full of fast food, the next cutscene will trigger. A pack of hounds, larger and more vicious than their pre-apocalypse counterparts, will attack the building. They won't last long against these fast food technicians, but in general, they are just as easily swayed by treats and will quickly join your quest against the world. A small oddity about this particular piece of food is that it actually becomes an inventory item, where all other food is consumed immediately upon pickup. With debris blocking the immediate exits,
Looks like I've been cock-Asian blocked.
we'll have to journey into the belly of the beast to find a way out. Graciously, there is a checkpoint here, immediately followed by a resupply room. I wonder why these dogs are so angry anyway.
Hey, have you caught sight of this dog recently?
The heavily armed workers will often fall victim to their own weaponry, and the hounds that randomly appear through the vents and around corners consider you secondary to their vengeance. These back rooms are guarded well, with additional spawns upstairs. Diseased corpses and limbs still make for fine traps though.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
A final group of hounds appears as we make it back outside, and here we have an optional side objective of sorts. Return up the street and onto the next objective, or make a small detour and plunder the police station. Even if you don't want to go through the effort of fighting through the police station, it's still strategically sound to fight your way inside to enter the load zone. This will autosave your progress and reset the quick save, both of which are important utilities when playing under such brutal conditions. There's even 2 vending machines here, with all sorts of items for purchase if you're not, totally fucking broke. Yeah, this game's realistic. Taking the elevator down into the police station, it more closely resembles a Western saloon with a bar and live entertainment, but I digress. There's one NPC that spawns right in front of us, and a lack of silent weapons means most patrons will charge upstairs towards you for daring to make such a ruckus. The bar itself has a few amenities, some of which can be found in the bathrooms. There's also someone using one of the stalls, another one of the very few non-hostile humans in the game. Then you can chalk up one more for the person on the piano. Behind the bar and down in the cellar, you can find a dog to feed, as well as some body armor and grenades.
Good dog.
And then towards the jail, just behind these boxes, is a rocket launcher. Fighting through this section is definitely made easier with a canine companion, no matter how hard they get stuck on these stairs. On the lower level, this door on the right leads to the locker room, where we can find the lawman's outfit. Similar to the police uniform from the base game, its pacifying effect does not work here, and even worse, makes you look like a huge dork.
Glad there wasn't a snake in my boot.
No, what we're really here for is in the adjacent room. A room of lead and pain, containing a variety of ammunition, most notably 2 boxes of Revolver speedloaders, 24 cartridges of Widowmaking hell begging for action. Heading back above ground, we can sneak up on the NPC manning the desk, and then cast a wall of fire spell with the gas can, halting anyone from following us upstairs. While many businesses have gone defunct or relocated since the atomic blast, Polar Bear Patrol have remained active this entire time. Maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome, but I found this chart really fucking funny. Something even better is waiting just around the corner though, behind this emergency glass. The lever-action shotgun feels a little underpowered, similar to the normal shotgun actually. The narrower bullet spread does make it more reliable for headshots though, and sometimes it's hard to beat the cool factor. You're a motorcycle short of being the Terminator. If you did go through the police station load zone first, you can revisit the mechanic's shop for another health boost. Heading back towards the Trainyard, I got a big scare almost getting owned in the clothing store,
I didn't expect that.
but managed to make it all the way back completely unscathed. Getting from the street into the mall is a bit painful, as it's a fairly open area that leaves you exposed to a lot of enemies in many directions. Since the actual distance you need to cover is quite short, it's simple enough to just repeatedly throw yourself into the meat grinder until you make it through.
I'm sorry, apparently I'm feeling a little psychotic this morning.
After making it inside, you'll find the Animal Control Center is just next to the mall's entrance, along with a group of protesters. An ever-present thorn in Dude's side, but the many grenades we've snagged so far can turn a big problem into more manageable chunks. You are free to explore the post-nuke Paradise Mall at your own discretion, with a few goodies scattered around the vents and unfinished storefronts. There is a distinct lack of the heavy ambience that is usually ever present in this building. The arcade in particular is honestly a little eerie to revisit. The usual chittering of game cabinets and the in-store music has long since gone quiet, and now only a faint breeze can be heard, pouring in with the sunlight through the collapsed roof. Returning to Animal Control, head past the unassembled elephant foot wastebaskets and into the kennels, but we'll find Champ is not here.
Nope, that's not right. Not him. You've gotta be fucking kidding. That's not Champ.
So the search continues. As is often the case in Postal 2, more protesters cause things to go awry, and we'll have to fight our way through an extensive facility instead of returning via the door we entered by. Whatever experiments are taking place within these walls must be worth dying for, as the scientists will not relent. We soon find out, and it's easily one of the best things in the entire series. Liberating these pistol-wielding primates from their glass prison will form an unbreakable alliance against everyone in this laboratory. This will lead to a lot of mourning as you're completely outgunned by lab coats and the many waves of protesters. Dervish cats can also be unleashed, adding even more to the chaos. This turtle is clearly the most dangerous of them all, however, as its encasement is built far stronger than the rest. Towards the end of the hallway is a stack of crates that can give you a leg up into the vents. Crawling through will lead to a tin of catnip. Its powerful time-slowing effect is as close to an instant win button as you can get. A little further along will drop you into a small supply room with some health items and a checkpoint. Peeking through these doors, we can see there's a bunch of jail cells, but what could be so dangerous to require such security?
Clever girl.
Completing this secret battle will reward you handsomely, as the now empty pens contain grenades and ammo, 200 points of armor, and the beta shotgun. Crawling through more vents and returning to the shipping room, there is a fascinating piece of tech here, where if you jump into this specific spot on these racks, the unstuck feature will teleport you outside of the map and trigger the end of the level. This was a total accident on my behalf. For the sake of completion, I loaded the most recent autosave, which did mean doing the Velociraptor fight again, before continuing. The reason for jumping towards this rack of shelves in the first place was for another secret weapon. Hopping across these gaps onto these trucks, and then back to here, there is crutchy grenades. From here, there's just a few more hallways and protesters back to the main area, and if you're carrying any cash, there's one more chance to hit the vending machines before exiting the level. And there it is. A fresh start to a new week has offered up a wealth of new tools to attack with and set the tone for the days to come. Simply comment Tuesday if you'd like to see another episode.
Listen, man, I'd love to help, but nothing's free.
Thanks to all the swagged out gamers that bought a shirt and the members that continue to fund this channel.